Is usability and customer experience the new SEO? What are some of the most common mistakes made when changing a website to HTTPS? And how might a marketer take advantage of a Facebook dislike button? Welcome to This Week in Organic, episode number 17.
This Week's in Organic. Live from London on thisweekinorganic.com.
Not broadcasting from London, but broadcasting live from brightonSEO. You're watching This Week in Organic, the weekly show that debates the ramifications of the latest SEO and content marketing news. Sign up to watch the next live episode at thisweekinorganic.com. Hello and welcome, I'm David Bain, and each week I'll be joined by some knowledgeable, opinionated folks to discuss the latest happenings in anything that impacts organic traffic. And as for you, dear viewer, join in too. So I would love to hear your opinion too. So just use the hashtag TWIO on Twitter on the screen here live, and any opinion that you've got, we'll gladly read out, as long as it's something decent and relevant to the conversation. But let's find out more about today's guests, where they're from, and what's caught their attention this week. So starting off with Greg.
So I'm Greg Gifford. I run the SEO department for an automotive software company in the States, and I'm really excited to talk about Google Plus and the Facebook dislike button. Great stuff. Thanks, Greg. Moving on to Andrew.
Hi, I'm Andy Halliday. I'm from a company called eBuy.com, and I'm the head of SEO and PPC. The thing that's caught my interest this week is HTTPS and whether a company should move there.
Good stuff. And last but not least, we have Pete.
Hi, I'm Pete Campbell. I run an agency called Kaizen. And yeah, HTTPS for me as well, really. It's a constant debate that we have with our clients.
Whoa, that's great, because that's the first topic we're going to talk about today. So that's right. So Gary from Google this week actually confirmed that in the event of all other factors being equal, an HTTPS site will rank above a non-HTTPS site. So is it time for every commercial website to go to HTTPS? So it was Andrew and Pete that thought this topic was particularly interesting. So let's start off with Pete. Pete, what's your thoughts on this one?
I still feel like taking SEO out of the equation, there are plenty of contexts where HTTPS isn't necessarily required. I mean, say for example, my business, yes, we are an SEO business, but taking that aside, we don't collect customers' details, we don't require credit card payments, so, I can understand why many brands struggle to buy into the case of why you should have HTTPS. I also have clients where their checkout will be secure, but the main site won't. So, there are a lot of valid cases for HTTPS. I mean, Google obviously gave the hint last year when they first announced that HTTPS would be a ranking factor. And then, secondly, for me, the HTTP2 protocol, which is all designed around making sites load like 5 to 10 times faster. In order to have your site HTTP2 compatible, you need to have an SSL certificate in place. So, I think over time, brands will gradually conform and get it. Essentially, it's just it's hard to make that case.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you can understand e-commerce sites going for or understanding that. But do you think for an agency site, it's going to be absolutely necessary in the future?
I mean, almost it's kind of, for me as a business, yes, because I get criticised if someone types in SEO and I don't appear first. So as an SEO agency, of course. But say if it was a normal service-based business. So I have a client who's like a loan broker. They don't offer any kind of online facilities to actually buy or purchase loans. They're providing a consultancy-based service. So why would he need an SSL certificate? Why does he need that expense? The only justification from it in the minute is just because it will make him rank slightly higher. So quite often when we do implement SSL for our clients, it will be because they're either about to change a whole bunch of URLs anyway. So if we're going to change them, let's get this in place also. Sorry.
No, I was just going to move on to Andy. Andy, yeah. I mean, obviously, you work for an e-commerce site, eBuyer. Is your site all HTTPS, actually?
No, the checkout is obviously secure, but the main product pages, category pages, home page is not secure.
And is that something that you're intending moving to?
Well, definitely not in the run up to Christmas, because there's no way we want to lose our organic rankings.
Yeah, that's a concern for a lot of businesses, obviously.
If it was going to be done, it would be done after Christmas in our quieter times. But right now, it's a no-go.
Okay, so right now you haven't made the decision about definitely not going for it. So do you have a lot of organic traffic coming to the site at the moment?
Yeah, it's about 40% of our traffic to our website. So
it's a significant concern, obviously, because there has been case studies in the past where HTTPS has impacted ranking significantly.
And we have a lot of third-party data pulled onto our product pages, manufacturers' descriptions, reviews. So we've got to make sure they're all able to support HTTPS before we can move to HTTPS.
That's a great point, because a lot of people make the mistake with HTTP sites is having some unsecure files on there, and then that can throw up different warnings in browsers and really put users off, certainly. So even if you don't lose your rankings, then you're perhaps going to put off users by these warnings.
That's correct, yeah. So that's our biggest worry, is conversion rate of a site being affected.
Okay, and Greg, is Dealer on HTTPS completely?
No, not at all.
And is that something that you're keen on moving to?
We're kind of talking about it for our own site, but for our dealer sites, it's a pretty big issue to tackle, because when you've got thousands of people all on the same website platform, and then you're looking at, okay, we want to make either everybody secure all at once. Okay, well, if we've got thousands of dealers that have to go secure all at once, we got to go buy a boatload of certificates and then get those installed, and then that's going to have to be an additional yearly fee that we're charging to these dealers, which they might get upset about. And then a lot of dealers are calling and freaking out about it, saying, oh my gosh, Google said we have to do this to rank, and we said no. It says if everything else is considered equal, then this will help you rank. But you've got so many other problems that are easily fixable right now that don't have all the additional issues that will come with this. Let's fix those things first.
Okay, so it obviously has the smallest possible impact in terms of Google's algorithm at the moment. Do you think it's likely that it may increase in terms of impact?
I'm fairly sure it's going to increase pretty significantly.
Right, okay. So what are some of the kind of more mistakes that people actually make in the process? Because I'm sure you've seen a few clients actually move from HTTPS.
Well, the problem is they just go and they set up their certificate, and they don't look if they have any third-party feeds that are coming in, like he was talking about, that get completely hosed because now it's not going to work right, or now your URLs are different, or things happen, or you get the warning messages that pop up. Like, there's so many myriad things that can go wrong that if you just run out and do it and don't have somebody like us behind the scenes helping you with it that understand it, you can really hose your traffic, and that's unfortunate.
Okay, so you make sure you have a test server set up and test everything before.
Well, and make sure that you've got somebody that understands that transition process helping you. Don't try to do it yourself. If you've got your own, I work with a lot of small businesses, it's car dealers, and then I do a lot of freelance stuff too, and if most of the time these guys are doing their own websites, or they've got someone that's done a website and then handed it over to them, and if they're going to go try to do this themselves, it's just a colossally bad idea.
Okay. So a big concern, lots of things that can go wrong. What about if you do have everything right in terms of all the scripts on your site? Should there be any concerns with regards to Google changing the ranking of your pages because the URLs have changed?
It has. I think there have been studies which have shown that 301ing a URL and changing a URL for 301 will make you lose equity, and that's why it's been this debate of, does the benefit of SSL actually outweigh the downside of going through 301s? Which is why I've made the conscious choice of, well, only when I'm going to change all the URLs anyway is it worth going through this process, because I don't think the net gain right now is enough. In the future, it will be.
So if you set up a new site now from the beginning, you'd make it HTTPS?
Absolutely, yeah.
For any site at all?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like I said earlier, the HTTP protocol as well requires it. So, you're future-proofing in a lot of ways there too.
So something else that's launching actually fairly soon is let'sencrypt.org. So that's supposedly going to be a free automated HTTPS service. So that may reduce the costs of going HTTPS in the future. Greg, can you see many businesses actually choosing to go that route, or do you think they may be concerned about going for a service that was free and actually wanting to pay for HTTPS?
I think that a lot of businesses will be attracted to it because it's free and easy, but I think that the majority of people will shy away from it because of that same reason. Why do you want to rely on this free service that anybody can use that's just out there when most of the time the businesses I work with want to have a little bit more control over their presence.
Right.
And do you really want to trust that out to some free service that maybe it works, maybe it doesn't? If something happens with the service, then what happens with you?
Okay, Andy, would you be willing to trust a free service?
No, not a free service. It's too big of a factor. I'd want to check everything. Another issue with 301s, people don't always do the 301s correctly, and internal linking. I've seen quite a few sites where they don't change their internal linking, so they're still showing HTTP links on HTTPS site.
Okay, and I bet you a lot of people actually retain their canonical links as well to the old non-HTTPS version. Yeah, that would be a nightmare. Yeah,
you can get, at the moment, for years, you've been able to get these self-signed certificates, so you can install a free SSL certificate yourself, but the reason why you pick a company like a Symantec, for example, is because it gives that extra credibility to your brand, being able to display, it's been validated by this really reputable company. So here's an extra point to know why you feel safe when you're using your credit card details with us or whatever it is, you know.
Okay, well, some great tips there. So in summary, basically, if you're starting a new business at the moment, start with HTTPS and do everything well from there. But if you're not there at the moment, don't feel that you absolutely have to move over the next few weeks. Do everything right, get someone in to advise you, and make sure you do as much as possible to hopefully not lose rank in the future. Great, okay, well, moving on to topic number 2, which is the Google My Business app has been updated. Okay, so we're going to turn our mic up slightly if we can online, so just bear with us for 1 second.
Yeah, because I talk loud. I'm actually toning it down right now, so.
Is this louder here? 1, 2. Okay, I've turned everything up just a little bit there. Is it a little bit louder?
Yeah.
Hopefully that's louder. Great stuff, okay. So more feedback online. Use the hashtag TWIO. That would be great if you can use that. Moving on to topic number 2. So the Google My Business app has been updated, making it quicker and easier to update your business listing. And it also lets you see how your Google Plus posts are performing. So who cares who their Google Plus posts are performing?
It's funny that you laugh when you ask that question.
Well, is it right to treat Google Plus as a social network seriously now?
No.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, in some cases, it's crazy. Harley riders, guys that ride Harley motorcycles in the States, for whatever reason, love Google Plus. Don't know why, but when we had dealers, and my old company before the new one where it's all new car stuff, we did a lot of stuff with motorcycle dealers, and we had Harley dealers, and between Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus far outperformed the other two when it came to motorcycle guys, for some reason. Don't know why. RV people, like the big old school, big bus RV things.
Recreational vehicles.
They use a ton of Google Plus as well, for some reason. So there are niche communities, I should say, since I'm over here, where you have a ton of usage for some reason, and it's that really small community. But if you find that small community and you can dial into Google Plus, it's really, really powerful.
So Pete and Andy, you immediately said no. Was there a time 2 years ago that you would advise people to get on Google Plus?
Yeah. So primarily what always interested me about Google Plus was the rel author feature and the rel publisher feature. I thought that provided a unique hook, and being able to update your brand and being able to have those status listings appear in Google search queries, that was interesting to me. And I think there are elements of Google Plus which are amazing products. Google Hangouts, using this now, brilliant products. And the same applies for Google Plus My Business, even though it's previously obviously Google Places. But I couldn't name a single brand out of the 15 or so clients we work with where we actually use Google Plus anymore. Because of rel publisher, you can achieve that logo through JSON-LD, and obviously rel author's kind of gone. Didn't have the kind of culture there. I do know some brands do perform well on Google Plus, but I question how much of that is actually the same community they're getting on Facebook and Twitter anyway, and they're just kind of cross-sharing that traffic between it.
Right. It's funny you mentioned actually that Google Hangouts is an excellent product, because I'm moving this show from Google Hangouts to blab.im next week. So I think the performance, everything works well in Google Hangouts, but technically it can be a bit challenging to set up.
Yeah.
So the average person is unlikely to get on and use the service on a regular basis. And I think Google historically have been excellent technical people, but possibly a little bit lacking in terms of associating their products and making their products really relevant and right for people who haven't got that technical background, in my humble opinion.
It's funny because the most time when I recur, so I do engage with Google Plus, is usually like a Google Webmaster Hangout. That's the most time I use Google Plus. I mean, that's obviously it's because Google using their own products, but
okay. So Andy, has eBuyer never really been on Google Plus, or have you been on it in the past?
We're on there, and we have something like 7,000 likes or whatever they are on there, but followers, I don't know what they are on Google Plus. But no, we used to just post content on there because it was seen as getting indexed quicker, but in terms of actually using it, we don't really have a good community on there.
Okay, taking a quick poll of people watching live here. Who has used Google Plus as a social network in the last week? Greg, okay.
There's a really awesome local SEO pro Google Plus community that's killer. So everybody listening, if you're into local search, check that out. So that's honestly now that's the only reason I use it personally is because of that one community. So other than that.
And do you think you'll still be using that in a year's time?
Unless the community moves somewhere else, then definitely yes. Or unless Google just finally pulls a plug on it.
And do you think they will?
I would not be surprised.
Right. Okay. It's phenomenal because obviously they push so much effort into it as well. But obviously a lot of people are saying that they're hardly using it at all.
If I want to ask John Mueller a question, I'll do that via Google Plus.
Okay.
That's the only time.
Have you done?
Yeah, I've done it a few times, but that's the only time it's ever used.
Did you get an answer?
Once.
Really?
So when Google Plus started, there was significant SEO merit to using that network. Initially, we had our photographs beside different blog profiles, that blog posts that actually came up in Google search results, probably encouraging people, making people more likely to click through. Is there still SEO merit to actually syndicating your content, at least to Google Plus?
I mean, I use Hootsuite as my social media management platform, and by default, we'll put it on our LinkedIn group, Twitter, and Google+, but that's only because I just need to tick the box, you know, so I will take advantage of it.
Okay, well, apparently there's a couple of microphone loudness challenges online. So it's all microphones, or? Oh. Oh, okay. Well, so people watching live at the moment, so we'll try and maybe talk a little bit closer to our microphones.
Okay.
To make it a little bit of a nicer experience for you, hopefully. However, we will, of course, be releasing this as a video podcast and also as an audio podcast as well. I'm recording it here in separate tracks. So that's going to be great because I'll be able to edit each track separately before it's being published as a video podcast. So fear not, you will be able to actually rewatch this as a recorded edition as well. But we're going to pump on here. So we were talking obviously about Google Plus social network. The question that I asked last was, is there still significant SEO merit to syndicating your content on Google Plus? So Pete, you were saying that you used a social media management platform.
Yeah, so we use Hootsuite to manage Kaizen social media channels, and as part of that, we will publish our updates on Google Plus as well. But that's essentially we're putting it on Twitter anyway, and we're just cross-posting it onto that.
And you don't get any interaction through that.
No, we do, but
don't feel bad about saying no.
We do, but it's the same people that I engage with on other channels, you know.
Okay, let's ask Andy a challenging question next. If you were Mr. Google, what would you do with Google Plus?
Kill it.
Oh, okay, that's a two-word answer.
Some niches do use it, but most niches, nobody really uses it. Most people either use Facebook or Twitter.
Keep it, kill it, Greg?
If I was Google, I'd kill it because it's got to be way too much on the resource side for what value it provides to anybody. Like, why would you want to keep it going? And they're slowly pulling it out of everything. And just today, I mean, I haven't tested this yet because I didn't charge my computer and now I'm dead, but just today I was reading that they have now pulled the review stars and the link to the Google My Business page, the Google Plus page link, off of brand searches. So if you do a search for a brand with a city and that shows up as the #1 result, you used to see the review stars and the link to the Google Plus page. Now that's been pulled and it only shows the stars over in the knowledge panel on the right. So if they're doing all of these things to make it so hard to get to the Google My Business, Google Plus page for a business, why would they keep the platform around?
Okay. So unless you participate in the RV community or motorcycle community, don't worry about interacting in Google Plus.
Pretty much.
Right. Or SEO community, maybe.
Right.
Okay, so that's topic 2 there. We're going to take a slight different break here, and that's, well, coming up we're going to be talking about whether usability and customer experience is the new SEO and how a marketer might take advantage of a Facebook dislike button. We're getting a few good tweets in here, so keep on using TWIO as a hashtag. But first of all, we've had a joke competition. So you've possibly seen our flyer earlier on, and that asked the question, are you Brighton SEO's funniest SEO? And I'm asking you to finish the question, and SEO walked into the bar. So has anyone here entered the competition, or have we just got people not in the room that's entered the competition? You're not admitting it anyway, are you?
I didn't enter because I thought it would be unfair that I would obviously win, and I'm on the panel. So.
Oh, I think that's very nice of you. I think we all appreciate that. But we've got 12 entries actually that we've got here. We've had a few more, but we've whittled it down to 12 entries, and we've got 3 entries each. So what we're going to do is read the 3 entries that we've got each, and those of you live here can help us decide who is the winner. So let's start off with Greg at the far side. So Greg's going to read 3 entries.
An SEO walked into a bar and says, anyone else know why katieprice.com is still on page 3? We need like drum rolls or something. There we go. These are all from Matthew O'Toole, by the way. Everybody laughed. Do we know who that is? No? Okay, next one. An SEO walked into a bar and asked, where's the security? The barman says, we don't have any. We couldn't afford the bouncer rates.
Wow.
Yeah, it's bad. This one will win. This one's going to win. This one's a bit off color, but funny. An SEO walked into a bar and says, did you know that research shows that porn sites have the stickiest content?
Andy.
Yeah, an SEO walked into a bar and ordered a link. And he's put, sort of sounds like a drink. An SEO mouse walks into a bar and the barman says, why the long tail? An SEO walks into a bar, finally. And that's it.
Shall we, actually, just before we proceed, shall we pick one from Greg and one from Andy to actually make it into the final? And then we've got 4 ones to vote on. So which one, Greg? Actually, Greg, if you choose one of your ones to actually make it into the final.
The porn site one, obviously.
Okay. Andy, which one of your 3 do you want to
The mouse one.
Okay, great. Okay, let's hear what Pete has.
Some of these are so bad I don't know if I want to read them out. But an SEO walked into a bar and it was empty. Little did he know the address was marked Page 2 Street. Just like a depressing story. Gabrielle, well done.
Well done, do you mean that?
Yeah, sure. Next, an SEO walked into a bar, sees 2 friends, one a panda, the other a penguin, punches them in the face, then walks out. That is all. Adam Martin Brown.
Well, it seems to have got a decent reaction there.
The violent ones, I think. Okay, here's a pun. An SEO walked into a bar, but every time he went to get a drink, a penguin moved the bar. Laura Kennedy.
And Pete, what's your favourite, or your least worst?
You know what? I give it to Adam Martin just because.
It seemed to get the reaction.
He seemed to be in a bad mood, and he just wanted to vent, and he got his way. So there you go.
So, an SEO walked into the bar and asks, "Do you know the joke about duplicate content?" No? Do you know the joke about duplicate content? An SEO walks into the bar and asks for a free link. An SEO walked into a bar, the barman asks, "Why the long tail?" Ooh, I think the duplicate content probably makes it through out of this one here as well. Okay, so shall we quickly say the winning joke again, and then we can go and do the vote in terms of who is the winner. So Greg, remind us your one.
An SEO walked into a bar and says, "Did you know that research shows porn sites have the stickiest content?"
Andy.
An SEO mouse walked into a bar and the barman says, "Why the long tail?"
Pete.
An SEO walked into a bar, sees 2 friends, one a panda, the other a penguin, punches them in the face, then walks out. That's all.
And an SEO walks into the bar and asks, "Do you know the joke about duplicate content?" No. Do you know the joke about duplicate content? Okay, so I'm going to ask you to cheer for Greg, Andy, Pete, or me, David. So, Greg. Andy?
You need a cricket sound effect.
Pete?
Boo.
And me. I think Greg gets it.
Well, Matthew O'Toole gets it.
Matthew O'Toole gets it.
Surprise?
So just a comment in the audience here from Lawrence O'Toole, founder of Analytics SEO, admitting that Matt works for Analytics SEO. So, but none of the voters knew that. So,
Sorry.
well, that was great, though. Yeah, thank you all for being good sports and taking part in that. So let's move on to the next topic, which is Apple have just released iOS 9. With it comes their proactive personal assistant with personal recommendations based upon your habits. So how do you optimize to become part of someone's habits? How do you improve your site's usability and customer experience so that it becomes someone's habit? Pete, what are your thoughts on this one?
My presentation this morning was on essentially markup and using APIs to better earn traffic, and I actually took a little look into iOS 9's new APIs for Siri. So it is actually possible for brands now to have contextual Siri, so that within an app, Siri will recognize certain elements of the app. So there are certain APIs that brands can hook into so that Siri can better understand your content and how to use it. So there is actually a technical answer in terms of actually being able to do this. So I think iOS 9's been out like a week, so I think it's very early days. But in terms of any kind of personal assistant or voice-based search, I think the answer is in markup. You need to tag up your site either with JSON-LD, HTML microdata, or data vocabulary, so that tools like Siri and even Google Search better understand the context of the different pieces of your content, so that theoretically in the future, those questions could be answered by Siri.
Okay, so focusing on apps then, Andy, do you think it's necessary for every serious business to have their own app, or is it only necessary to actually ensure that you are listed within relevant apps in your industry?
I don't know. Good question. I don't think every business needs an app. There's certain cases that, yes, certain industries, I'd say most e-commerce websites, yes, you need an app to make it easier for customers to purchase. Small businesses, probably too much time and effort and cost would go into building an app for what they'd get out of it.
Okay, great stuff. Is that something you'd agree with, Greg?
Well, yeah, I mean, we have this with car dealers all the time, that they keep asking us, hey, should we get an app? But the problem is, why would anyone ever use an app for a car dealer? You go buy a car, you're going to have an app from the manufacturer that lets you find your car, turn your car on, do all these things. Why do you need something that's redundant from the dealership that you bought it from? And why would you use that app? Once you bought the car, you're not going to go back there for another 4 or 5 years till you buy another car. Unless you're going back for service, but even if you did that, why would you need an app for that? So it's kind of silly to try to go and force every business to have an app.
Okay, so staying with Greg, I mean, the question was focused around, obviously, people's habits impacting whether or not a site is popular or not, and perhaps even impacting SEO in the future. Can you see a stage moving forward where even if a site is not properly optimized traditionally, with title tags, heading tags, all those kind of things, but it is a great user experience, that site ranking higher than a site which is optimized well?
But I think that it's moving in a direction that if a site has a great user experience, it will be optimized. I think the signals of optimization are changing. What you did 5 years ago to optimize a site's pretty different than what you're doing now. And I think it's moving in a direction where as long as you're having that customer-facing focus where everything that you're doing is making it the best possible user experience you can, that in turn is going to mean that you are optimized with how the algorithm has evolved.
Okay, so you can't imagine a situation where a site is going to be difficult for search engines to crawl, but a good user experience at the same time?
Yeah, I don't think that that would be possible.
Okay. Andy, have you...
I was going to say, yeah, as long as they sort out the technical side, then yeah, it's all about user experience. There's a test done at MozCon where they got someone to search for a certain phrase and click on result number 4, and that went up to number 1 by people interacting on the site. And the company that was in position 1, click on it and bounce straight back off, and that actually dropped down to position 4.
Wow.
So usability is And that stayed for about 48 hours in them positions.
Okay, so click-through rate, usability, very, very important. Pete, do you think it might be possible to SEO in the future without really being able to have an impact on website usability? Could an SEO effectively perform in the future just by changing tags and not having any influence on the website itself, really? No
way. I mean, more and more now, to us, like, we have this kind of audit process, and it's more of a kind of like doing an MOT on a car. We go through a checklist of things and we resolve them, and then we spend the months and months after that looking at how we can redesign the user experience, answer the questions better. More and more and more, we're having to become almost kind of like a user experience consultancy. Doing mock-ups of designs of how the pages should look now, thinking about how to improve their conversion. I think. The role of SEO, technical SEO and technical SEO only on like big e-commerce brands, that will certainly say, but I think with that you also need to be willing to learn a skill set about user experience and usability, because it's part of your role.
Do you think it's realistic for someone to be an expert at being a technical SEO and a usability tester?
Yeah, but because I try and do that every day, so
right.
Yeah, I'd like to think I'm doing okay at it, so yeah, I think it is, but yeah, it's hard, yeah, because I started off as a web developer, and it's through time, web developer, then web design, and then I did SEO, and I kind of forgot about design for years, and now I find that myself using all those skills I used to have every single day more and more. So, yeah. I mean, Greg, coming in and starting at Dealer On, I'd imagine you'd be focusing a lot on usability testing. Are you focusing on that more than conventional SEO at the moment?
Not really, because the vast majority of our SEO clients right now are on our website platform, right, which has, part of the reason that they're as good as they are is because they've done extensive usability testing, and they've tweaked everything and done tons of A/B testing and done everything they can to get these sites to convert really well and be an awesome user experience. So coming in and doing SEO on the people that are already on that platform is very easy, because we don't have to worry as much about usability. But then I do also do some SEO for dealers that aren't on our platform, and in those cases there's a lot of usability changes we have to make because some of the other platforms are pretty awful. Okay, I'd like to have a little think about usability mistakes that maybe businesses have made, or the most common ones, and perhaps a top couple of usability issues that people could think about within their websites as well as priorities. Greg, what would you say are the priorities in terms of usability? So, we've even seen dealers that have, they've got the ability to edit their own site, so they go in and they start messing with their menu, but they don't pay attention to what it looks like on the site, and they add so many menu buttons that it wraps and makes a second row of menu buttons, and then you can't get to the submenus of any of them, or simple things like their Contact Us button is like the third or fourth one from the left, and so if you're wanting to contact, you're going to look to the far right, and it's not there, and those things don't make sense. Or they'll have 500-600 links on the home page because they're trying to link to every other page on their site off of their home page, and it's so confusing. It's this big mishmash of crap that what are you supposed to click on? You don't even know, because there's so much junk there. Or there's so many, something else we really see with car dealers, they love these big gorgeous pictures, and some of these providers are getting to the point now where the slider on the home page will have 15 or 16 different images on it that take 5 minutes to watch, but they're also so big that even on my Mac with a giant resolution on my huge monitor, there's no text on the screen because the entire thing is an image, but I don't even see the whole image because the image is so big. It's like, what's the point of having an image that's so big that nobody can see the whole thing? It just doesn't make sense. So in general, are sliders a good thing? No. Never. No.
No, so sliders is the exact tip I was going to give to avoid. I think
you have to find another one.
I know, annoyingly. I think people now are a lot more accustomed to scrolling, and I don't think a lot of websites recognise that. They stuff everything continually above the fold. To me, the other most common usability mistake, especially with smaller business owners, is that they design the website for them rather than caring about what's actually the goal of this page. Usability, a lot of it comes down to common sense. You look at the home page and you think, right, what is the goal of a home page? Well, it's to get them off the home page, and you want to point them in one of 4 directions to go down a clear path of where to take it. But more often than not, it just becomes this kind of catalogue of everything's here. It ends up looking like the Yahoo homepage from 1998, where it's just loads of boxes.
It's interesting you say the one of 4 directions there. Is 4 the optimum number of...
whoa. 4 is just the number that I just put out there. But, you need to be on your homepage. You need to think, right, these are the product services I offer. What are the different goals people are going to take? In my business, we offer 1 of 6 products. So quite up to us. So we have 6 boxes, and we let them quite clear on homepage identify themselves as to which one's relevant for them. And then they'll see a page all about that. And then from there, they have the option to get more information on that product or service.
So Andy, what are the kind of changes that you might have made on the eBuyer website over the last few months that have had a big impact?
I look after the technical SEO, but we do have a team that's dedicated to the A/B testing. So we have a proper A/B testing software that measures everything from the colour of a button to where should a banner be. We do have a slider on our homepage. Yeah, that's never been tested, but yeah, so everything's tested before anything's rolled. And
do you advise the testing team as to what they should be looking at?
If I can spot something in GA, then I will give recommendations, but I usually leave that to them. I deal with technical stuff, they can deal with a conversion. Okay. But the biggest issues I see is people designing something on a lovely big Mac, but the customers are either using a tablet or a laptop screen, and when it scales down, you can't see half the messaging, especially with site skins when you scroll them down. So make sure if you're going to do something, look in GA and see what your average browser size is and make it work for that.
Okay, I think it'd be good to finish this section just with a software recommendation. So if you could have a think about a software recommendation with regards to usability and improving user experience. Greg, what kind of tool do you think is a good tool to use?
We use Optimizely a lot.
Okay. What do you in particular like about that?
It's not super easy to use, but once you get in and you understand the platform, it's really cool the things that you can do with it. We've already got it tied into everything that we do. So for as far as our platform, we can turn things on and off very quickly and easily and get data quickly. So it's pretty awesome.
Okay, and Andy, you obviously said you focus on SEO and analytics. Are there any split testing type tools you would also use?
Yeah, we use HP Autonomy. It's the only software I've ever used, so I can't really compare it to anything else, but it's a really good platform to use.
Great.
Test anything on the site, from colour of a button to a whole new menu system.
Wow, okay. And do you have lots of multi-variable tests going on at any one time?
Yeah, quite a lot. But yeah, and it can mess up the stats in GA, so you have to bear that in mind when you're looking in GA, that their tests can actually mess up your stats. But they give us good outcomes, so.
And Pete, with your web design background, I'm sure you've got quite a few tools you could rattle off.
Optimizely, the strongest one. Use Usability Hub a little bit as well. Crazy Egg for click tracking and heat tracking. I'd say they're the right three to recommend to use in particular. Google Experiments also is free. A client of mine uses Google Experiments, does a good job.
Okay, yeah.
So,
I forget what the URL is, but there's a US site, you pay $5, and the guy gets drunk and uses your site drunk. So it's like drunk user testing, and I wish I remember the URL. I don't remember, but it's brilliant. It's so fun to do because it's $5, who cares? And the guy goes and gets hammered and then records what he does on your site. It's so cool.
Okay, we'll try and find that afterwards and see if we can link to it from the show notes. So that'll be fun. Well, let's move on to topic number 4, which is Mark Zuckerberg has confirmed that Facebook are working on a dislike button. But he doesn't want it to be a voting system, apparently, more of a means to express empathy. So how might a marketer take advantage of a dislike button? Should we start with Pete this time?
I mean, I'm behind the idea of a dislike button. I think it is a good thing. There are plenty of situations where, unfortunately the past year, I had like a family member pass away, and there's been updates about that, and that was a situation for a dislike, and at the moment you kind of leave a compassionate comment for it. I mean, how does a marketer take advantage of that? I mean, I guess, I don't know, that's almost kind of like immoral to think about that really in a lot of ways. I think the ways in which it will have a situation is, say for example, my girlfriend works for the Alzheimer's Society, and that's, and Alzheimer's is an incredibly sad condition, and when through the stories in which how they do their marketing, they bring to life the stories that people go through this, where you can emphasize with that. And I think for charities, environmental organizations, I can see the place in there being a dislike button. For my business, I mean, I don't know, maybe I do a grumpy post, Google has released some stupid update, maybe that's where I get my dislikes, but I think it has to be either kind of calls to arms situation or a place to express empathy.
I think it needs to be obvious that people are disliking the actual situation that you're talking about, and not the quality of your post.
Yeah, true. That's also, I mean, I have read that, I seen the Mark Zuckerberg town hall, and they did say that it isn't going to be one of these situations where you can dislike something into oblivion. I'm sure they have to take that into account though, but yeah.
So, Andy, if you're launching any products or thinking of launching any products in the future, do you think that kind of tool might be useful for as a voting mechanism?
I actually think it's more useful for our blog and our content writers, so they can, if they're thinking about writing a new topic, they can get feedback whether our user base wants to read about that area before they actually go and do the research.
Okay, that's intriguing. So you have a blog, obviously, with quite a few visitors at the moment then?
Yeah. So and if they want to write about the new iPhone, for example, and everyone dislikes it, then there's no point in them going to spend time and money researching that.
Intriguing, yeah. And Greg nodding away there, is that something that you'd think of using?
The kind of product research side of it, kind of crowdsourcing ideas, like, hey, what do you guys think about this? You know, before, you know, I've seen companies say, hey, let us know what you think, click like, or leave a comment and say why you don't want us to do it. Well, now it could just be like or dislike, who cares? Plus, it's going to be super fun to troll my wife and dislike everything she posts.
Are you going to be a dislike troll, Andy?
Oh, it's going to be awesome.
It's probably going to be more of a CS issue, customer service issue, than a marketing issue.
Okay, because I mean, Facebook's obviously the primary social network for many industries at the moment, so it's probably going to be very prominent in terms of communication, feedback as well.
I mean, I struggle to see how I could convince a brand to put within their blog a dislike button for the same way that, you know, almost like it complements the other shares. You have your like button, you have your Google Plus button, your LinkedIn button. I mean, let's put it this way, I have a real challenge trying to convince customers to put a testimonial page on their site for star ratings because they're worried about the negative review appearing. So I think that is one big challenge they have of it. I don't know, you know, why would they want to encourage, you know, you go, why would we want to encourage our customers to dislike our content, you know?
Yeah.
Even though in the world of transparency, that's obviously a good thing. You need that feedback, and all we have to push your clients to have it. But I think that'll be a big block for the Facebook having success in this on other third-party platforms like they have with the like button.
Do you think it might be better for Facebook to give the option of making the dislike button optional on a post?
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea, yeah. Yeah, because I do think that the best place for a dislike button is, like you said, situation-based. You know, I don't think it is a good thing for that like or dislike kind of trolling, basically. You don't want to encourage bullying, you don't want to encourage negativity, you know.
Andy, if the dislike button was optional on a blog post, do you think that your content publishers would use it in the majority of situations?
I think in most, but I think it could also just be a case of Mark saying they're doing this button, so they get a load of feedback from everyone saying, no, we don't want this button, and then you can finally turn around and say, we've listened to the people, they don't want the button, and they never actually release it. Because there's been a lot of calls over the years for them to introduce it. So whether it actually gets released or not will be interesting to see.
Do you think it's a marketer's dream, this button, Greg?
No. I just don't see, I mean, like we said, there's the situational type stuff, and then potentially maybe, you know, blog research ideas or, you know, limited crowdsourcing of ideas. But other than that, like, I mean, sure, right now I'd love to dislike all the crappy political posts that people are posting over in the States because we got the election coming up. But, I mean, do you really need a button for that? I mean, just ignore and not interact, and then I won't see those posts. So because then what happens with the algorithm? Because right now, the more you interact with somebody, the more you see their posts. What happens if it's somebody I don't really want to see their posts, and I don't know that that's the way the algorithm works, and I start disliking all of their stuff? Does the algorithm take that into account and be less likely to show me their stuff in the future, or does it work like it is now, that because I'm clicking on it, I see more of their stuff?
Oh, God.
So it could be like an endless loop of I'm trying not to see their stuff, and it keeps showing me more. So
stop following
just
them.
unfriend that person.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with it.
Are there any other buttons you would like to see, Pete?
No.
No?
To think about it. I'll think about that question.
Okay. Andy, you've had another 10 seconds to think about it. Are there any other buttons you'd like to see?
Not that I can think off the top of my head, but no.
Greg will come up with an answer for this one.
I don't really have one.
Oh,
sorry.
Well, that's okay. That's I reckon that just about takes us towards the end of this week's show. So just time for a single takeaway from each of our guests. So what we've talked about here, hopefully they'll focus in on one single takeaway that you guys can go away and implement within your own businesses. And after that, some sharing of find out more details. So starting off with Greg at the end there.
I think the big takeaway is mostly the kind of convergence of old school SEO and website usability and content, and that everything's becoming the same thing. And there's not going to be that split anymore between, well, hey, this website's really usable, but it's not really optimized. It's going to all be the same moving forward.
Lovely. And just confirming your contact details, where to find you.
Follow me on Twitter at Greg Gifford, or follow me or shoot me an email at ggifford@dealeron.com.
Lovely, thanks. And Andy, your thoughts?
Yeah, my big takeaway is if you are going to go to HTTPS, have a plan, have a thought-out plan, do it slowly, and don't rush into it.
Lovely. And what's your where can people find you?
On Twitter at Halliday and Andrew Halliday.
Lovely. And finally, Pete?
I think it's, I think we only kind of touched upon the possibilities that iOS 9 brings now with like personalization of data. So, brands could earn a lot of traffic by Siri-based searches. So I think if you have an app, you should be looking into the Siri APIs and how you can hook them into your application, basically. My name is Pete Campbell. I'm director of Kaizen, and we're at kaizensearch.co.uk, and I'm on Twitter. I'm at Pete Campbell, like the guy from Mad Men who has the same name as me.
Wonderful.
There you go.
Thanks a lot, Pete. Great stuff. And I'm David Bain, Head of Growth at analyticsseo.com, the agency and enterprise SEO platform with big insight. So sign up for a free demo of our platform at analyticsseo.com. Now, if you're watching this show as a recording, remember to watch the next episode live. Head over to thisweekinorganic.com and sign up to watch the next show in real time. But for those of you watching in here live and also on Google Hangouts live, thank you so much for joining in. But remember, you can go to the replay if you need to do that at thisweekinorganic.com/iTunes. And remember to continue sharing your thoughts using the hashtag TWIO on Twitter. So that's just the 4 letters TWIO. Until next time, have a fantabulous rest of the day and weekend, and thank you all for joining us. Adios online, and cheers everyone here live. Thanks for joining us.